Hey guys, this is Aziz from Indie Development and it is Tech Time. Today I'm bringing you another tutorial of the machine problem series, and this is machine problem number 8. This one will have to take care of the word correction problem, but this time it will be in classes. So let me pull ahead the machine problem. It is right here. We have solved it before and I believe it is number 5 or 4. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's called word correction. So this one will just I'll just be briefly going over it. We're just converting it to classes because this is the second part of C++, and this is the second class if you take it in college, the advanced C++. So we're just going to convert it to classes, and you can just tag along and see what's going on. It will not benefit you too much to know all of this, so just look at the output right here. And the output is just basically we're going to get a correct word, we're going to compare it with the rest of the words, and there are 4 errors. Deletion, insertion is when you have an extra letter, deletion is when you have less one letter, substitution is when you have 2 letters in different positions, so like here, or substitution is actually when you have a letter change. So computer, this D right here. So let me zoom in. Computer is spelled with a T, but now it's with a D. So computer, this is substitution. Transposition is when you have 2 letters in different positions. So computer. So M is supposed to be in the position of P. P is supposed to be in the position of M. So let me go ahead and minimize this and start our tutorial. We're going to start and type Visual Studio. I'm going to start with 2012. It is no different, it's just the newer one, so I'm going to go ahead and work with it. Make a new project, and I was working on something else. Let's go out of that. Visual C++, and after that we need a empty project right here, an empty project. So we're going to call it word correction with classes. I'm just going to name it like that. You can go ahead and name it whatever you want. Alright, so now we've created it. We have the Solution Explorer. If you don't have that, as usual, View, Solution Explorer right here. If you're missing some view, it's all right here. So let's go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and create a header file, new, and a header file, because all your classes are going to be in the header file from now on. Anything you do in C++ mostly will be in the header file. So the header file, we're going to call it card header. Add, and here it is. Here's the card header. Let me zoom in right away. We have the input right here, so we're going to input it also. So let's go ahead and go to resource files, right click, add new item, and after new item go to utility, or if you have the older one, just scroll down all the way to the end until you find text file right here, and we're just going to call it input. Here's the input file. Let's zoom in again, 200, and I'm just going to copy this, whatever it has in it, like that. If you don't have this file, you can go ahead and go to indiedevelopment.co and you'll find the file right in there. You can just download whatever is inside it, or you can just copy this. I'm going to put it on the side. Here we go. Let's drag it here on the left, and you can just go ahead and continue copying while we write our code for you don't have to write every one of them, you can just type some of them. So right here we're going to go ahead and start with our libraries. Include IOStream. Then after that we can go ahead and include string, because we're going to deal with strings, and include fstring. Right after that we're going to use name space std right here, and under it we're going to start with our class. Our class, we're going to call it words type, just because classes are usually, they have the word type in there with them. So words type, there's the class, and we're going to open and close our square brackets and a semicolon at the end. Don't always remember this semicolon. So right here we're going to define our private private variables or whatever we have as private. Usually that is how you start your class, because it will tell you what you need to do as far as functions that are public. So we are gonna need a bunch of counters, and we are gonna need a bunch of strings too. So string correct core word, and then user word. This is the correct word and user word. I like to spell out the whole thing just because it will make more sense if another programmer is behind me and he's gonna use the code and update it or whatever he wants to do. So I like to do it this way. We're also gonna make a counter, a bunch of counters. So bad word counter, comma, correct, and let's actually do it this way, bad word counter. This way we know it's a variable. Programmers kind of are used to this. The first letter is always smaller, so we're going to do it this way, correct counter. And then we're going to do deletion counter, and then insertion counter, and then after that we have substitution counter, and then transposition counter. Alright, so all these counters we have. I'm assuming you are done with this text file, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it, and here we go. So right here we have all our counters, we have all our strings, and then we're gonna continue. Public, this is the public area, and I'm gonna put a couple of inters between them so we distinguish between them. And let's go ahead and continue our code right here. So let's just say this is words, and these, let's comment it, counters. Of course we're gonna have an issue with the counters because they will not update all the time. Whenever we enter them, they're just integers. So whenever we use them, they'll be resetted to whatever they were. So I'm going to work on that later after showing you what is the issue with it. So let's not worry about it right now. Right now, what we need to do is setters, getters, and functions. So let's do setters for words right here. And we're going to make void set correct word right here. And we're going to pass to it a string, because the word is a string. Void set user word string, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna pass to it this and this, and then after it let's make a getters for words. So these are gonna be return type functions, so they have to be string. String get correct word right here, and nothing goes inside them because they're only returning something. String get user word. There we go. Now we have both of them, and the rest of the functions right here, we're going to define them all right inside here, but we're not going to make them right now. We're going to make them as we go along. So the first thing, obviously, we're going to do the setters and getters and type them out right here. So right here, string words type, because you have to type the class name first, this words type, and then colon to access whatever is inside it. So right here, words type, colon, like that, and then you can access whatever. So for this one, we're going to do the get correct word. Inside it, we're going to do return correct word right here, and it will return this word. We're going to continue string words type colon get user word, and then return user word right here. That's it. These are the getters. After that, we're going to do the setters right under them. We're just going to flow everything alphabetically. So right here, void words type colon and set correct word, and we're gonna pass to it a string. So string, and let's type C. I like to pass it like that, so that way we can just do correct word equal to C. Correct word, now whatever we have is in the class, is equal to whatever the user passes, which is C right here. It will C, so let's say the user passed dog. Dog is right here, C is dog. Correct word was hello. Hello is equal to dog, so it will be dog, or whatever you pass. Void right here, words type colon and set user word and string and U. I do U and C because it's whatever first letter of this, like C right here, C, U is right here, U, or we can just do user word right here, or correct word. It will just be a little bit of an issue right here because you have to do this like that, so I didn't want to do that. So we can just say car or correct, and here user. That way it makes it much easier for you. So correct here, and right here user word is equal to user. And now we are done with the setters and getters, so let's comment here setters functions, and right here getters functions. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to main right now, and we're gonna make it right here. Source files, right click, add new item, and after that we're gonna go to Visual C++, C++ file, and mine is gonna make it source.cpp. You can make it that or main or whatever you would like. So let's add. Right here we've added it, so let's zoom in, and of course we gotta include something, but we're not gonna include libraries. Instead we're gonna put double quotes card header.h file. It has all the libraries and everything we need. So right here under it we're just gonna type void main, and here's our main. Let's do system pause, and here's our system pause. So we're gonna go ahead and continue with this, and we are gonna make a variable of type card header. So card header, we do it like this, and we can call it card. You know what, I'm not sure why I named it card header. Let's go ahead and rename it to words header. You don't have to do that, but I just renamed it. I was thinking of a different homework. So right here, words header, which is actually the name of this words type, not words header. Words type right here, and then you type the name right here, so words. And right here we gotta update this, so double quotes words header double quotes, here it is. So include words header, whatever the name of the file is, and then here words type is whatever the name of the class is, and then we give it a different name. So just like you do in string word, this is exactly the same way. It even lights up the same way like string. So words type is whatever it is in here in the class, and then you give it a variable name. Alright, so this is define a class variable name. Alright, I'm gonna make better comments after I finish the code. So let's go ahead and open the file ifstream fn, and let's do input.txt right here. Now we have opened it. Let's check it if it's open. Cout the file, there is a file error, and let's put an end line right here. System pause so we can actually see it, and exit 0 so we don't run into the rest of the code. This is just a typical thing that you do, nothing new. So we are gonna do a while loop, but before the while loop we need to input some few things. We need to input the word, so we're gonna make a string right here and collect it correct word, and we're gonna make another string which is user word, because we need to input it from there, from the file right here. Let me put it on the right and let me zoom in. We need to input the correct word. This is the first word is always the correct word, and the rest of them are user words. So right here we're going to do fn correct word. We're going to input the correct word. Then we are going to use the setter function. So words dot, here it is, set correct word. Then you open parentheses and you have to pass to it a string. So we pass to it correct word. There it is. It's very simple. So you type the word, the variable right here, whatever you made, and then the dot allows you to go to any function that's inside it, and then you do set correct word or whatever function you have, and then you pass a variable to it. After that, we're going to go ahead and continue while not fn.eof, while it's not the end of the file. We're going to go inside and then cout 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5, starting a new line. Let me just close this. Actually, there's no need for it. Starting a new line. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and then we can do an end line right here twice. After that, we can do cout the correct word is, and after that we can actually display it by using the class. So words, again, remember the dot, it allows us to go to the functions, and then get and the getters. Get correct word, open, it doesn't take anything, so we just close it, and then we continue with end line. And then after that, now here's the issue. How do we check the file right here? How do we check the file if it's the end of it? How do we know this is another word or not? How do we know that? Well, the issue here is that we're gonna check for spaces. We're gonna check for this space, this space, this space, and so on. If the next thing that we get, if it's a space, we continue. If it's the end of line, because there's a character here, end of line, then we get a new word and so on. So what we're gonna do here, actually, let's close it right here. So we gotta make a new character for that issue only. So right here, char, and we are gonna name it end of line checking, end of line char. Let's equal it to a space. Let's actually equal these to nothing. Okay, so right here what we're gonna do is we're gonna input a char. So fn.get, it will get anything, even if it's nothing, it will get it. And we're gonna input inside of whatever it gets the char. So end of line, here it is, end of line char is gonna go here. Then we check that. So if end of line chart does not equal a, or actually we're gonna do a while loop because we have more than one file. So while loop, while end of line char does not equal it's a character, so end of line, like that. Let's actually put a semicolon so it actually reads it correctly. There it is. Put a semicolon right here. So end of line, while it's not an end of line, we keep continuing on reading, but when we read an end line, we get out of this loop. We stop getting anything else. So you'll understand it while we go along. So fn user word. We get a user word now. After that, words, just like we did before, dot set user word this time, and we pass to it user word right here. And then after that we can do cout user word is, and again words dot, it allows us to get functions, get user word, open, there is nothing to pass, close it, and then put one end line. Right here we're gonna do all the checking. So words dot, we still don't have the function for it, so I'm gonna take that away. But before we continue to do that, we're gonna do fn dot get, and we're gonna put end of line char right here again, and we're gonna do actually what will happen with this is it will check again. So it will see right here, this cannot be zoomed, so right here, see how there's a space right here, space right here, and so on with all this. If there, it will get this word and it will check again, and then get this word and then check again, and then get this word and then check again. That's why we have to have this at the end also as it is in the start. When it finishes, it will get out, and it will get out to here at the end of this while loop right here. So we need to add something in here, fn correct, because there's more correct words, and this one will also serve as a checking for the end of the file. And we do words dot set correct word and correct word, here it is, and it will check again, and it will input a new correct word for us to go back. This is the new word, check for end of line, and go again with the file. So stop right there, and now we're gonna go ahead and go to the words header. In the words header we're gonna make more functions. As before, I did a function and I called it do everything, or check words I believe was the name, because I put everything inside it and we only had to put one line inside main. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna do the same thing. Right here we're gonna make a function called do everything or check words. So in here void and check words, let's say that check words will have a string correct word and another string. So instead of correct word, actually what did we name the variables right here? Correct word. So it would be hard to deal with that with both of them the same name. We shouldn't name them the same name just to avoid issues. So core word and user. So let's just say correct and then user. So string user. There it is. So this is the function that we're going to be working on right here. So let me see, check ABCDFG. Okay, so right here, this is a good place for it, alphabetically. Words type and check words, then we open it, string, and actually we don't have to name them right here, so you can just take that away, but up to you if you want to keep it. I'm just gonna name them right here, correct, and then string user, and let's open that, close it. Alright, now we're inside this function that has everything. So first thing first, we're gonna check is the user word correct. So by doing this, we do if correct is equal to user, then the word is correct, right? So we do cout the word is correct end line, and then after that we do the counter. So the counter will be correct counter plus plus. There it is. So after that we can check for the rest of the issues right here. So the next one will be else if correct dot size, and I'm going a little bit fast on this just because I already explained this homework before. So this is just this code has been already written and explained, so I'm just transferring it to classes. It makes it if you need more explanation, just go ahead and ask me or watch the other tutorial to explain it more in depth. But at this level, we're just dealing with the class more than the actual issue of solving the homework. So your user dot size. So if they are equal, if the size is equal and still it is not the word is not the same as the user word, the correct word is not the same as user word, but the size is equal, it may be a substitution or a transposition, as I explained before. So here we're going to call a substitution function, but we don't have that yet. So we're going to make it right now. We're going to make the substitution function. So right here, right under it, we're going to do void is substitution, and we're going to pass to it string. So we're going to make the rest of the functions right here. So void is deletion, and also pass to it string, all of them just the same way, and void is insertion, string. After the insertion substitution, we have it already, and void is transposition, string. There it is. And right above it, we're gonna need one more function, void cout count, or we're gonna just call it display counters. So this one would have to be right under check words, because of the alphabetical order of it. So check words is right here. Now we're gonna create is substitution. So let's create it right under it right here. So void words type, there it is, colon, always don't forget that, is sub, right here, open it, string, correct, string, user, as we passed before to this function also, correct and user. We're just gonna pass it to this function the same way, and it's gonna do its thing right here by checking for the word, if it's right or is it wrong. So let's see, where is, okay, here it is. So we're gonna make a string size type, because we use size type because it's a string, and strings are really long, so we use string size type instead of integer. We're gonna go ahead and do it for I is equal to 0, I is less than correct word dot size I plus plus, here it is, and if correct, actually not correct word, I apologize for that, correct, just correct, if correct at position I does not equal user at position I, then we break right here. So we will check the whole word and see where our mistake is, where is the wrong one. When we find the wrong letter, then we're going to do our comparison. So if correct dot sub string at I plus 1 is equal to user dot sub string at I plus 1. Let's go ahead and do cout. So instead of displaying all this one by one, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy some code that I've already written for this issue. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy that without having to write this code and waste your time for it. So instead I will go ahead and explain it. So let me just verify that. Alright, so here's the code. This one is substitution counter. There it is again. So if it is a substring at I plus 1 and I plus 1 are the same, then it's a substitution. If the letter is wrong, So like one of those, if the letter is wrong, like let's say this letter is wrong but the rest of the word is right, then it's a substitution. Otherwise, if it's at the end, if the only the last letter is wrong, then it's a substitution also. Otherwise, if it's neither of those, then it has to be right here. It has to be a transposition. We haven't written the code for transposition yet, but we're going to go ahead and write it right now. So let's see, where is transposition alphabetically? It is it's the last one. So we're going to write it under substitution right here. Just go ahead under it. So void is, or words type actually, colon is sub, or is transposition, string, or actually string correct, string user. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and also do the same thing, copy the code for transpositioning because it's a long code and I want to make this tutorial smaller a little bit. So let's go ahead and format it a better way so it looks nicer. So transposition counter, there it is. And remember, this code will always be available to you. This is bad counter at indiedevelopment.co whenever you need it. So let's see, what did we define this as? Bad word counter. So right here, bad word counter. Okay, so transposition. This will display transposition if it finds the error. So it will check every letter, finds which letter is wrong, gets out. If it's at the end, then it's so if the letter is at the end is different, then it's a transposition, and it will check again inside it too. If it's -2, which is -1, -2 right here, it will also do a different checking and check for the rest of the word if it's right or wrong. Right here, else if at position I and I plus 1, if it's the rest of it is right, it will be accepted. So let's say computer, let's say T is wrong right here, and then there's D. But if the rest of the word is right, then only this letter is wrong, and that makes it a transposition. Otherwise, it's a bad word. It's completely bad, and we cannot solve it. So that's transpositioning. Now we're going to go ahead and see what is the next one in the do everything right here, else if. So we're here going to call is transposition. So to call that function, we need to let's check what other ones do we need to do. Okay, there we go. So we're going to call words type colon is substitution and correct user. You can do it like this. You can also do it this way. You don't have to call words type. The reason for that is because you are inside the whole class. So you can just call it like this. You don't have to do words type colon. But we're gonna do this anyway, just because it's the safer way. And I actually believe that this way is the correct way. So I'm just gonna keep it this way. So let's go ahead and continue. Else if, and this next else if is correct dot size and equal to user word, or user in this case, user dot size +1. And in here we're going to call the words type colon and is deletion, and we're going to pass to it correct and user. So let's go ahead and continue to write the code for is deletion. Let's go ahead and find where it is. It is under display counters, so it will be right here. So void, as the rest of them, words type is deletion, and string correct string user, and we're gonna find the code for is deletion. And honestly, you can go ahead and find it right here. If you go to Google and then you go to indiedevelopment.co, it will be right under tutorial, C++, machine problem series, word correction program, and here's the code for it right here. We're not doing anything, we're just doing the same exact thing but with classes because it's a little different. So there's a deletion code, but I'm gonna go ahead and use the one that I made for this one. So right here, let's copy it and put it right here. Let's format it and deletion counter, and this is bad word counter, and let's put, okay, this is the deletion. I'm gonna go ahead and sum it up again. This will check every letter. If the last letter is the letters that's missing, then it's a deletion, obviously. If not the last letter, but the letter before the last letter is missing, but the rest of the word is fine, then it's obviously a deletion. If it's none of those, it's a bad word. Right here, what is this? Substitution. This is transposition. In transposition, we have an issue right here. We don't need this one, this if -1. We need just the -2. I thought this is an issue. It turns out it is. I remembered about this one, so it's just this one that we need. But it doesn't matter if you write it because it's not going to create an issue for you. The next thing, we're going to need to go to check words. Right here, else if. So else if correct dot size is less than user dot size, and you're gonna call where words type colon is, and this one is going to be insertion because the correct word is going to be less than the user word. The user word has more letters. That's why we're doing this way. Correct comma user. So for this one, I mean, we don't have to do +1. Like instead of this, we can do higher. The correct word is higher, is longer than the user word. The user word is missing, so user word is less. We can do this like that. Doesn't matter either way. It works, but this one works more accurately than just one letter difference. So we're going to go ahead and do the insertion. Let's find where it is. It is under deletion. So let's go ahead and find deletion right here. So void words type colon is insertion string correct comma string user. Let's go ahead and write the code for it, and let me find the code that I already made for it. Insertion, there it is. There it is. We're going to change this, insertion counter, and this is bad word counter. There it is. Now we have all the issues right here. We've checked every problem. Let's see. Do we have all of them? We have transposition, substitution, insertion, deletion. Display counters is one that we don't have, so check words, and under it here void words type colon display counters, and we're gonna, in display counters, let's check what does it pass. It doesn't need anything because it's displaying stuff. So this function is a little different than any other function. It's it will need some work. So we're just gonna go ahead and write it. So cout bad words, and we're gonna display the bad word counter right here, end line, cout, correct words, so correct counter, and we're just gonna basically copy this, copy it, so let's see, correct deletion, and here we're just gonna type deletion, and under it there's gonna be insertion, and right here we're gonna just change that to insertion, and under it we're gonna do substitution. There's no order to them, you can just put them however you want. Substitution. Alright, under it we're gonna do transposition. Right here we're just gonna change to transposition, and we're gonna take the rest of them. So here we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 errors. We're gonna go ahead and go back to source.cpp right here, and we got the user word, we got the correct word. Now we need to check the words. So to check the words, we're gonna go right here and call words.check words right here, and we're gonna pass to it correct word, and we're gonna pass to it user word that we just got, which is right here, and which is right here, or right here also. We're gonna check that, and then after it, when it's done, we're gonna do cout end line, or we don't have to do that, sorry about that, we don't have to do that. After that, at the end of the file and the end of the loop, when you're done, fn.close, just close the file. You don't have to do that, but we can. And words.count display counter, here it is. This one will display the counter. So let's go ahead and run the code and see what happens. Here's the code, here's the words, and see the issue right here? See what is happening? All of them are garbage. Let's look at the words though. User word is substitution. Is it substitution? Computer, yes it is. User word is computer. Transposition. Transposition right here. User word is this. User word is that. Deletion. Okay, so we need to just put cout end line right here. And I think we need one more. Okay, we're all good right here. So computer, substitution, transposition, deletion, insertion, bad word, word is correct right here. This word is correct, and so on with the rest of the words is counting them. So we're gonna do here, we're gonna fix this. So to fix it, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to here, and right under, this is the class. See where I am? This is the class. This is the end of the class. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and press enter right here, and right here we're gonna do this. Int words type. Sorry about that. Words type. There it is. Colon, and bad word counter. Now this is the variable equal to 0, and this one will equal to 0. Now why can't we do that? There is another issue. There is the issue of it being static. So we need to do static right here. So here's the issue right here. I actually put it, oh here it is. Static is not supposed to be on the string. Static is supposed to be on the end. So here, static. And let's format it so it looks pretty. There we go. Now it shouldn't give us an error with this, and it isn't. So let's go ahead and continue with the rest of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and instead of bad word counter is correct counter, deletion, insertion, substitution, transposition. Okay, so here's all of them. This is what you do: int words type, and then colon it lets you take the variable and equal to 0. Just very easy, very logical steps. So initializing private variables. The reason why we made it static, what it does is it makes the variable like a global variable. So even though we're running the code a million times, it will never reinitialize to 0. It will do this when it starts, but after that it will keep it whatever it is. So even if we make another, even if we keep like playing with the code after another time, it will not reinitialize it. It will keep it flowing like a global variable. Like how a global variable, if you pass it to a function and change it, when you go to the function again, it will not remake it. It will keep it at whatever it was before. And if you don't understand this, please go ahead and ask me. I'll explain it a little bit more. If you have more questions, go on development.co. So let's go and run this code. Debug, start without debugging. Here it is. Here is the counter: bad words 3, correct words 1, deletion 3, insertion words 4, substitution words 4, transposition words 3. And here are all the words. So let me go ahead and go back and explain it a little bit more. I'm gonna zoom out 150. Alright, these are the libraries. This is the user namespace, and this is words type. This is the class. This is the private variables, the counters, the words we're using. This is the public, where every function is set. This is the setters to access private variables, getters to access private variables also, every other function that we need. This is to initialize private variables. We can make a constructor, but we didn't want to do that. We wanted to make it static. Words type, check words. We checked if it's correct. If it's the same size, then it's substitution or transposition. If it's less, then it's deletion. If it's more, if the user word is more, is insertion. This is here we displayed all the bad words, correct word, and all the other counters. This is deletion. It checks for deletion. This is insertion. This is substitution. This is transposition. And these are getters and these are setters. The code will be available to you on indiedevelopment.co. If you have any other questions, you can go ahead and ask them on my YouTube channel. If you want to be private about it, you can go ahead and get my email from indiedevelopment.co or ask me on YouTube. If you have a more detailed question, you can go ahead and go to indiedevelopment.co. I'll be more than happy to help you and explain more on this. If you don't understand some of the conditioning of checking the word, you can go ahead and check right here. Let's go all the way up. And tutorials, C++ tutorial, machine problems, and you can check word correction program, and it will have the code. I will be making another post for especially this homework and be displaying the code right there, so you don't have to type it as I'm going. You can just look at the code and look at my video and compare the both of them. So thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Have a good day.